I showed up for load-in at the theater she said was dark. The first I saw of it was a call sheet that blinked and vanished. At 3:11 on a Wednesday, my phone buzzed with a shared calendar notification from my wife's account. Load in 18:00:22:00 all hands. 2 seconds later, the event disappeared, as if the stage manager had reached through the screen and yanked the paper back off the corkboard. I checked our kitchen window. Outside, late spring light rehearsed being kind. "Dark this week," Sienna said when she came home, tossing a coil of gaffer tape onto the counter as if it were fruit. "Budget review. We finally get a night to eat like people who don't live at a plywood address." She smiled, kissed my temple, and opened the pantry. "Do we have pasta, or are we auditioning for a new kind of hunger?" We've been married 9 years. Sienna is a stage manager who believes in lists. I believe in railings. At 5:30, the Belvedere posted, "Call 4 volunteers tonight. Clear night, bring shoes." Maybe they had canceled yesterday and decided to load tonight. Maybe the post was a leftover. Maybe I was arranging evidence out of dust. Still, the language "tonight" refused to be historical. I emailed the production manager, Jules. 2 minutes later, waiver attached, wear closed-toed shoes, sign in at the door. I hated the lie for being so easy. I loved it for sounding exactly like the kind of meeting Sienna would prefer. No wrenches above your face. The Belvedere I signed in and was folded into a protocol. Ghost light, labels for overhire, hazards, hope. Sienna came in with a stack of spike tape balanced on her clipboard, and my whole body made an unhelpful decision to announce itself. She didn't see me. "Deck left," she told a cluster of college overhire. "We're rolling in the portal, then the city wall, then the trap. When I say hold, you hold. If you keep moving, the trap keeps moving. We do not want that." They nodded like people who had learned this lesson the way a city learns about rain. Sienna wasn't alone. A lighting designer named Ray, tall, soft-voiced, shadowed her to talk cable runs and the sadness of dimmer too. He didn't touch her. He didn't have to. He spoke in the dialect of usefulness, which is its own intimacy. At the prop table, "Do not eat, show prop," Sienna clocked me. "You're on the sign-in," she said. "Community member excited to help," I said. "You said dark." It was. Then Steele arrived. Jules called the night. "You're on the sign-in," she said. Not angry, not delighted. Cautious, like a person evaluating whether a joke will land or a ladder will. "Community member excited to help," I said, displaying my sticker, and tried a smile my face didn't want to co-sign. "You said dark." "It was," she said. Then the steel arrived on time for the first time since whatever era steel looked like a favor instead of a risk, and Jules called the night. "I was going to text you after I triaged the other 20 fires." "I saw the post," I said, "and then I saw myself walking in here like a metaphor you don't need." "I could use a metaphor," she said dryly. "Preferably one that carries 8-foot flats without hitting any instruments." "Metaphors coming right up," I said. She tilted her head. "Stay, but be crew. Don't be a mezzanine. Mezzanine equals watching when we mean we're afraid." I stayed. I carried things that were heavier than my opinions. I learned where to stand when a wagon rolls and where not to sneeze. Sienna called holds with authority. "Picture," she said when Rami wanted to move a cable that would ruin the scenic designer's plan. "We can't make a choice the picture will punish." Rami, to his credit, nodded and chose a different river for his electricity. By 10 the portal stood. The city wall wore its pride. The trap breathed without eating anyone. Sienna wrote on paperwork in handwriting that looked like spike marks. "You could have asked," she said. "I didn't know how without taking attendance," I said. "Jealousy makes me want to prosecute, Mostly I miss standing next to you while the world builds. Prosecute was last show, she said. This one is witness. Also, Raymai wants the show to work more than he wants anyone impressed. I didn't know how without sounding like I was taking attendance, I said. I keep thinking jealousy means I should prosecute something, when mostly it means I miss standing next to you while the world builds. She glanced up. Prosecute was last show, she said. This one is witness. She put her pencil behind her ear. Also, for the record, Raymai is a dimmer map with glasses. He wants every show to work more than he wants any person to be impressed. That's a good kind of person, I said. It was irritatingly true. She nudged my shoulder with the part of her that knows exactly where my insecurities live and how to sit next to them without feeding them. You willing to run deck right when we test the Traveler? She asked. It sticks at 30 feet. If I shout help, I don't mean spiritually. I can be literal, I said. It helps when there's a rope. We ran the Traveler. It stuck at 29.5. We hauled. It relented. The room high-fived. By 11:30, we were unstacking the last of the road cases. Raymai rolled the light board off like a priest wheeling an altar. Jules thanked us with pizza and a clean-up note that sounded like scripture. Put the thing with the things. If you do know where things go, ask the person who will yell if you put them wrong. The room exhaled. Outside, the sidewalk felt like a staircase back into our night. You lied, she said. Poorly, I said. I did, I said, poorly. You could have said, I'm afraid dark means you are in a room that's alive without me, she said, inventing my courage for me. You could have said, talk to me about the person who speaks fluent dimmer. I could have, I said. I'm sorry I didn't. She leaned on the roof. I didn't tell you, she said, because I didn't want to put you on the schedule. I wanted to know where tape goes without explaining why to the person who loves me. Then I remembered he likes learning tool names. Labels make me feel less like I'm trespassing, I said. Come help Spike tomorrow, she said. Not as a spy, as hands. I do like a label, I said. It makes me feel less like I'm trespassing. Then come back tomorrow and help us spike the furniture, she said. Not as a spy, as hands. At your service, I said. At home we ate Jules's pizza and opened a bag of salad like penance. We need a call sheet, Sienna said. We pulled the pad from the junk drawer and wrote. 1. If a night changes from dark to load-in, we tell the person who thinks dinner is the plan. 2. If a new room makes us more ourselves, we show the other the door and say where the coffee is. 3. Jealousy means put on gloves and stand where I can see you, not hire an attorney. 4. If you find yourself becoming mezzanine, pick up a rope. 5. Once a week, tape something in our house where it wasn't before, and don't explain it until the other points and asks. We taped the list to the fridge with a magnet shaped like a tiny spotlight, and went to bed smelling of steel and glue. The cat sniffed our hair and declared us new citizens. The next night I didn't lie. Jules pointed me to a work table. Sienna gave me a silver Sharpie. Label the drawer that keeps stealing the crescent wrench. Raymai explained DMX like a city map. At break, Sienna taught me to tear spike tape. I taught her the label maker's mood. We argued kindly about tidy and coffee mugs. She touched my elbow when a wagon rolled by. Half the work of love is saying heads. Opening weekend, we sat in the back row and watched a city appear and vanish without mourning it. We were part of how it left. 2 actors moved a table to its spike marks like people who had remembered their conversation. This isn't a parable with villains and saviors. What changed was smaller. When a night calls itself dark, we check the breaker. When envy shows up, it gets a laminate and a job. When one of us forgets to narrate, the other carries a thing until the sentence returns. Once a week we still tape something where it wasn't. A hook by the door, spikes under the rug for where the table should land, a list revised like a script. Last night the fridge hummed like a dimmer Sienna opened the window and said, "Quiet on the house." I said, "Standing by," and for once we both meant it.